Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for lending your expertise on this important issue. Autonomous vehicles are an exciting and intriguing technology, but this is also a topic that requires a lot of education and thoughtful consideration. I'd like to follow up on one of Chairman Crawford's earlier questions and comments on cybersecurity as it pertains to autonomous vehicles, because I think that in a lot of ways, it's core not just to security, but also to the safety and the overall confidence in autonomous vehicles. There are a lot of roads we can go down in this conversation, whether it's safeguarding data, ensuring privacy, preventing hacking and hijacking, protecting trade secrets, and probably many more. But I would like to kind of drill down here on a few of these specifics. And maybe Mr. Ermsman or Mr. Farah, could one or both of you talk about what measures are being taken place in the autonomous vehicle industry to ensure privacy? And when I say privacy, maybe be specific to things like user locations or cameras and privacy for camera privacy, things like that. Can you maybe expound on that a little bit, please?
Maybe I could start and then turn it to Mr. Farah to talk broadly. So I can talk about what we're doing at Aurora. So today we're compliant with all of the privacy requirements that are, that we have to comply with, that are out there, and that we actually have a robust policy in place to respond to law enforcement requests for data from our vehicles.
Congressman, certainly appreciate the interest. This is something that's a core tenet of the industry. I'll say that what Mr. Ermston said, from my perspective, seems to be applicable across the industry. There's a deep commitment to cybersecurity, a lot of investment that goes into this. There are particular ways that we mitigate against cybersecurity intrusions that we can follow up for the record and give additional information. Specific to data privacy, obviously these vehicles are out on the roads and needing to collect data to make the performance safe. That's something that is critically important. We realize that a lot of responsibility comes with that. There are a host of measures that are taken across the industry, and again, we can provide more specifics after this hearing.
Great, thank you. And also to Mr. Ermson and Mr. Farah, can one or both of you talk about what measures are being taken in the autonomous vehicle industry to safeguard against hijacking threats? I mean, what happens if there's a breach in cybersecurity? Is it possible for someone remote to actually take over and commandeer a vehicle remotely?
Congressman, I'll begin, and maybe Mr. Ermson wants to share his perspective from his company. What I will say is that these vehicles are the most monitored vehicles on the road. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of capital investment, technological investment that has gone into them. They are under the custody of the companies. These are fleet managed, and so the companies themselves have control over them. There are command centers, obviously, that are making sure that these are being treated appropriately. The other thing that's important to underscore here is that these vehicles cannot just go anywhere, anytime. There is a specific operational design domain. This is a set of limiting circumstances, whether it's geographical, whether it's other types of circumstances, and so they are confined to that space. All this goes to making sure that they are going where they need to go, making sure that they are not being used inappropriately, they're not subjected to cybersecurity intrusion, and so this is something where there's very strong alignment from the industry as well as policymakers.
And again, thank you for the question. Just talking concretely about what Aurora does, we have this technology we call the fault management system, and that's this part of the Aurora driver that's monitoring constantly all different systems. One of the things it's looking for is our various cybersecurity checks. And when it comes to remote operation of the vehicle, we actually follow best practices on how you can connect to the vehicle, and we can constrain what's expressed. So there isn't somebody with a Logitech steering wheel somewhere steering the thing down the road. We can ask, the interface looks much more like a taxi dispatcher, communicating information that's kind of not critical real time to the truck about what might be beneficial for it.
Great. And finally, can one of you briefly talk about what steps are being taken to prevent this technology from falling into the hands of one of our adversaries? Let's say someone like China, who we know is world-renowned for intellectual property theft.
And again, thank you for the question. For us, that's our business, right, is the intellectual property. And so for us, we take that seriously. We have what we think is a world-class team. It's about 50 people that are working on both the cybersecurity of our corporate infrastructure, but also on the product infrastructure.
Right.
I'll just say, Congressman, very briefly, I know we're at time here, but this really underscores why it's important for policymakers to support the development of the American autonomous vehicle industry. We need to make sure these jobs are here, these companies are here, we've got a robust supply chain, and we're very happy to have this conversation today.
Great. Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Mr. Stanton.
Thank you very much.